people get their news from CNN than any other news source.
The U.S. election still hangs in the balance. The state of Arizona still very much in play. Joe Biden's lead there has shrunk. It is now less than 70,000 votes. Let's go to CNN's Stephanie Elam live in Phoenix. Stephanie, what are you seeing? What do you hear?
Yeah, just because people wanted it to be tighter, just so more nails could be bitten here. If you take a look at this, John, what we were seeing after we got those two tranches of ballots that were counted last night here in Maricopa, and why it matters what Maricopa County does is because this is the most populous county in the state. So that is why people are paying attention to this fact that Biden's lead over Donald Trump here now shrinking down by 10,000 votes in that last group of numbers that we saw here. So taking a look at the state as a whole, the state is saying that they have some 450,000 votes that still need to be counted. And then here in Maricopa County, there's about 300,000 of those votes that still need to be tabulated. These are ones that were probably dropped off on election day that had been filled out. So that is going to take some more time. So we expect to see more of these numbers this evening. But still, for a lot of people watching what's happening here for these 11 electoral votes, it's still getting tighter, not wider. And that is why a lot of people are very much keeping their eyes right here, John.
Stephanie Elam in Phoenix for us. 4 years to grow back those fingernails. We can start in a day or two.
We have to reflect, but we also have to act. My relationship with Hyundai started in 2016. We realized that there was a lot of overlap in our understanding of what it meant to really push for a more sustainable future.
It's a very big challenge to reorganize a business model that is fundamentally very different. But it's one that we at Hyundai have started working towards.
Hyundai have already started using sustainable materials on their upcoming Ioniq electric lineup. There is a huge chance now for the whole system to shift to a more sustainable way of being.
I strongly believe that when all of us join hands under a common goal,
Media Britannica feel like hallowed ground.
We have business records and logs, minutes of boards meetings going back to the late 19th century. So it's really quite an array of a mirror, in essence, of the history of the West. Encyclopedia Britannica was founded in Edinburgh, Scotland in 1768.
In 2018, Britannica celebrated 250 years in business with a special anniversary edition, honoring the past, but still looking far to the future.
We feed off our past in order to get our momentum for the future, and that's very exciting.
I'm Will Ripley in Tokyo, Japan, and this is CNN.
Another shot.
votes in the final states being counted as we speak in Atlanta, where they've been at it nonstop all night. Those ballots and others are all that stand between Joe Biden, President Trump, and the White House. And we could have answers very soon. Hello again, thanks for joining us. Get ready. The biggest county in what the Biden campaign is hoping will be the biggest and most unexpected prize for them is wrapping up its count. We're talking about Fulton County, Georgia. That's the Atlanta area. We are expecting to hear from officials very shortly. We'll obviously bring that to you live. Erin Burnett is also with me as well today. Erin?
All right, Anderson, and everybody was waiting, and now maybe Fulton County some answers. Nevada soon some more information. Votes coming in from Arizona and Pennsylvania, where hundreds of thousands of ballots still remain. The big question, of course, is will this be enough as these numbers come in to put Biden ahead and over that key 270 winning mark? And Nevada, I mentioned as well, Anderson, obviously the Biden margin is slim and shrinking, but we do expect an update on that in the next few hours.
Yeah, and there's new reporting on the mood at the White House. We'll be hearing live from our correspondents. We also expect to hear from a number of key newsmakers. A big morning, perhaps a decisive one. We'll know more from Georgia momentarily. Before we go any further, I want to quickly show you just how razor thin the margins now are in the remaining key states. What a race this has been. Let's take a look. Nevada, Joe Biden is ahead, but only by 7,647. That's really unchanged. That's the numbers we saw yesterday as well. Nevada, unclear exactly when we'll be getting new numbers from them. Yesterday, they had indicated that as a state, they would report numbers at 7 p.m. On each successive night. We're waiting to hear if we're going to get new numbers before then tonight, but that is a very slim lead for Joe Biden. Georgia, President Trump is ahead, but that lead has been shrinking. He's ahead by 18,586 votes. As I said, we're expecting to hear more from Georgia officials with new numbers very shortly. Arizona, Vice President Biden ahead with 68,390. All during last night, new numbers were coming in. Biden's lead shrinking somewhat in Arizona, but still a lead of 68,390. North Carolina, President Trump ahead, 76,737 votes. And Pennsylvania, this is just a fascinating race to watch. In Pennsylvania, President Trump is still ahead with 135,702 votes. But a lot of votes still to be counted, a lot of votes still to be processed, and his lead has been shrinking. Even today, throughout the morning, we've been seeing the president's lead come down little by little. 5,000 votes here, 6,000 votes there. We'll see how many votes have left to be counted. We'll see who wins the all-important state of Pennsylvania. If Vice President Biden wins Pennsylvania, that could be it. That is the shape of the battlefield right now. Remember, it is changing by the moment. John King is here to walk us through all of it. So, John, the race tightening in these three crucial states, Georgia, Pennsylvania, Arizona. Take us through it.
And let's walk through it, Anderson, with just as you just noted, today could be the decisive day. Joe Biden at 253 electoral college votes. He needs to get to 270 to win the presidency. That's why I'm going to start in Pennsylvania, because Pennsylvania alone would do it if Joe Biden can overtake the president. The president had a much bigger lead if we rewind the tape. Go back to midnight Tuesday night, it was giant. Go back to yesterday, it was still significant. Now, is that big enough is the question. 135,702 votes lead the president of the United States in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. But Joe Biden has been gaining as these blue counties, Allegheny in the west, Philadelphia and the suburbs around it in the east, have been counting their votes. So let's just take a peek. Philadelphia is the largest. The city of Philadelphia now up to 81%. That tells you a lot of votes still out in a place that is voting overwhelmingly for Joe Biden. These are the mail-in ballots. Democrats, we know, disproportionately voted by mail. Joe Biden has been winning percentages like that, above 70% in all of these counties in southeastern Pennsylvania. And so the math is still possible. And that's why you look at it there. This is Philadelphia. I just want to move over to Montgomery County. They're up to 95%. You come up to Bucks County. Look at this, 49.9 to 48.9. That's the most conservative of the Philadelphia suburbs, a very competitive battle there. They're up to 89%. Just want to dip down here and look at Chester County as well, up to 95%. So what we're waiting for most is right here, the city of Philadelphia. Joe Biden's getting just about 80% of the vote, and they still have votes to count. So a big basket of votes potential for Joe Biden. And again, if you're at 253, Pennsylvania's 20 would put you over the top. So we'll watch that one as the count continues there. If Joe Biden can't get Pennsylvania, he would need 2. And one of them we're watching is Georgia. Again, late on election night, Tuesday night, Donald Trump was pulling out to what we thought was an impressive lead there. But as they count these mail-in ballots especially, you see a lot of red. The president runs it up in rural Georgia, as he does in many states across America. But where you see cities and growing suburbs in the Atlanta metro area is a textbook case. Fulton County now up to 95%. This has been part of Joe Biden's narrowing of the lead. As they count the votes in Fulton County, as you noted, Anderson, more votes to come from here. They could come any minute. You see 72.5% in Fulton County. That is what Joe Biden is doing. He's winning 7 in 10, sometimes 8 in 10, depending on the county of these mail-in ballots. And so the president's lead, which was once looked insurmountable, has been shrinking as we go. Another place to look, you move over here to DeKalb County. This county here, look at Joe Biden getting 83% of the vote, has been a big driver as they count these mail-in ballots of Joe Biden narrowing in the gap. And so the question is, when you look at it now, 49.6 to 49.2, 18,586 votes. Can Joe Biden make that up?
Hey, John, do we know how many votes are outstanding in Georgia?
The number has been trailing because they've actually been moving and making progress. So we were told this morning, we're going to hear from the Secretary of State, I believe in about 30 minutes or so. He has a count, and then we're going to hear from Fulton County a little bit after that. I think by the end of this hour, Anderson, we will get that cleared up because you hear 50,000 here, then you hear 20. So different counties are giving you different numbers, but they are moving along in Georgia, which is why I think today could very well be a decisive day. And again, we'll hear pretty soon. And so then you move west, right? Again, Pennsylvania would put Joe Biden over the top. If he didn't get that, but he could somehow come back in Georgia, then you move out here to Arizona, where Biden is leading. It's the flip side of the same dynamic there. Donald Trump had a big lead in Pennsylvania. It has been shrinking. The president had a big lead in Georgia. It has been shrinking. Joe Biden had a significant lead here in Arizona, and it's the flip side here. It has been shrinking. There's Maricopa County.
Hey, John, I'm sorry. Kate Baldwin apparently has some new information about voting in Philadelphia. Let's just go to her. Kate, what have you learned?
More of an update. We're getting a sense of really how many ballots are outstanding, and that's the name of the game at this point. Really, here in Philadelphia, they updated some more numbers. So last time I came out this morning, they were at about 140,000 outstanding votes, ballots that had not been counted. They're now back at 120,000 votes that have not been counted.
Are you talking statewide or just for Philadelphia?
Philadelphia. I am so sorry. This is in Philadelphia. No, that would be wonderful if it was statewide. We'd be really crunching those numbers down. But outstanding, we're talking about, that's Philadelphia right now.
So that's a lot of votes.
It's a combination of mail-in ballots and some in-person voting on election day. Some precincts still haven't actually reported them to the county. That's in Philadelphia. It seems unlikely that they are going to be able to finish it up today, just as I have been watching this process play out for days. It's a long, arduous process. It's labor intensive. I've been inside the cavernous space where they're going through and scanning these ballots. It takes a long time, and they have it broken down into specific tasks, so there is no margin. So there is no margin for error. That's Philadelphia. We're also getting a sense, Anderson, from Bucks County, that very important, and John can talk about it as well. He has been very competitive suburban county outside of Philadelphia. They're reporting this morning they still have 28,000 mail-in ballots to go through, but they are very confident that they're going to be able to wrap it up today. So there is a sense, while there are definitely outstanding ballots for sure, that there are counties throughout the Commonwealth that either wrapped up their counts late last night into this morning or are confident they will be able to wrap it up. Philadelphia is the biggest county. It's taking time, that's for sure, but they're getting a sense that there are other counties throughout the Commonwealth that they're going to be wrapping it up. So there could be some clarity, if not finality, and I don't even want to prognosticate that they would be able to do that, but some clarity on what direction this is all headed today.
Hey, Kate, so it's 150,000 votes still outstanding in Philadelphia. Do we know, in terms of statewide in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, how many votes are still outstanding?
I just looked. So the number of mail-ins that are still outstanding throughout the state, it has now gone under 1 million. That was kind of a marker that we were all waiting for, because we had learned from the Secretary of State that they have had such a huge turnout in terms of mail-in voting this time. They were looking at 2.5 million mail-in ballots returned, which was just a huge number. It's 10 times as many as they've had in previous elections. And overnight, they have gone down. I believe at the moment it's in the 700,000
wow, that
range.
is still so many,
mail-in
though.
ballots,
That's incredible.
absentees. It's still so many. Yeah, it's still so many. That is the truth. I've been pushing and asking what's going on in the process that takes time. They're not reporting problems, Anderson. There's not hiccups that they're concerned about at all. It's the volume, for one. It's the fact that by state law, they could not start processing, even pre-canvassing, which is the terminology of getting these ballots out of the envelopes. They couldn't start doing that until election day at 7 a.m., and it just takes time. There's also one step of the process in all of this that seems to be the most labor-intensive that I finally kind of learned a little bit more about, which is there are these several thousands, and I'll talk just about Philadelphia specifically, several thousand poll books where people go into the polling station and they sign their name to vote in person. That needs to be checked against the database of mail-in ballots that are coming in to make sure that that nothing's counted twice, that everything is accurate. That process of checking through the poll books, checking the mail-in database, that is a labor-intensive part of the process. It's just kind of illustrative of where we are right now, that's going on. We're still 2 days after Election Day, and it's not yet over.
Well, I don't think anybody will take issue with them being accurate, and that's the most important thing. So if it takes time, it takes time, as long as the votes are counted. Kate Baldwin, great information. Thank you so much. John, let's look at Pennsylvania. There you got it. Bucks.